Welcome back on this Monday. Appreciate you joining us. Now we have national analyst from Rivals, Jamie Shaw. How are you doing, man?
Jim, man, I'm real good. I appreciate you having me.
I thank you for joining us. You are the man on the ground. There's so much going on, too, out there right now. But you've been hooked up down in Atlanta with a Peach Jam, which has gone from 1 week to 2 weeks. Is that just for this year?
Yeah, so they didn't have typically they have 3 or 4 sessions, I guess, and then also with the Peach Jam. So they had league play to get standings for the Peach Jam, and then they'll have Peach Jam, which is bracket play.
Do you like it better this way or the other way?
Oh, man, it's a grind. It's nice to be able to see the kids to go into multiple different areas, to see like once or twice in April, once in May, once in July, and kind of, divvy it up as opposed to all at one time. You never know what's maybe ailing a kid, if they have a hamstring issue or, if whatever the case may be going on with them. So I like getting more diverse viewings of the player, but, to be able to knock it all out at one time, it's different.
There's a ton of talent to watch. There is a ton of talent down there to watch, of course. I don't know where to start with Sensabaugh or Hood-Schifino, man. Both of them are playing very, very well.
Yeah, absolutely. They've been great. Hood-Schifino, he switched over to Team Thad for July, and he's been pretty unreal playing with this Team Thad team. He's a big 6'6" guard. He's comfortable playing on the ball. He's also comfortable playing off the ball, which has been nice to see. I mean, he's averaging 16.3 points and shooting 44% from the field. 3.9 rebounds, 1.4. I mean, he's just a big guard who can do so many things on the floor. And he's playing with a tough-nosed team, so he'll get out and defend and do all that type of stuff as well with Hood-Schifino.
And then I mentioned Sensabaugh, who has just received a ton of offers here all of a sudden, ramping up after his great performances. So he's getting a lot of mileage.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And Sensabaugh is a unique prospect, and I'm going to be interested to see how things end up working out with him. He's an incredibly offensively gifted player, a big, thick body, probably 6'5", 6'4", 6'5", maybe weighing 235, 240. And, he looks like somebody that could be possibly a tight end or something like that build-wise, but he's so offensively gifted. The game comes so easy to him when he comes to passing the ball and, to being able to score the ball. Again, 16 points for him, 44%. He's able to handle shoot and pass a little bit as well. But his team is so absolutely loaded. That same team has the Each One Teach One team out of Florida. They have the Dylan Mitchell, who's ranked in the top 30. They have Taylor Hendricks, who's ranked UCF commitment, who's ranked in the top 100 as well. They have Bruce Thornton going to Ohio State, who's ranked in the top 25 as well. So they're just an absolutely loaded team. So the touches may not come as much to him as they do the other players throughout the event, but he maximizes what he does with each touch.
Yeah, he just seems like a player that is just more and more seeming to be a Mike Woodson player, an all-around, a guy that can do it all. He's one of those type players, but we don't know what a Mike Woodson player is when I say that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yet. But I don't know that Mike Woodson knows what a Mike Woodson player is yet before we get to these other players. He's out looking at everybody, and there are a ton of offers. And this happened during the Tom Crean era, but that was a different situation. He was just recruiting over people. Mike Woodson has said, hey, I'm going to recruit over you.
Yeah.
And he's just going to let them fight it out, basically. Talked with Alec Lasley, who writes for thehoosier.com, and in conversations I've had with some other people, they were going to offer 2 and possibly 3 on each position and let that be a war. And because they're on out all those offers, they're not coming to Indiana.
Yeah.
But who wants to come to Indiana and who Mike Woodson wants to be at Indiana? I think that's going to be a big difference now for the players you see on that bench.
Yeah, absolutely. And it seems like on the outside looking in that he's getting a kind of a new feel for the program about it, some new excitement level about the program with it. On the outside looking in again, there were some question marks with the hire when it initially happened. I know that internally people really wanted to keep it in the family and they're excited about it coming in and everything. But externally, there are some question marks coming in. But the early returns of him coming in seemed to be incredibly impressive. He's out recruiting. He's out there looking at players. He's offering the right players, getting players up on visits, and building kind of an aura about the program, bringing it back to the levels that it was 20 or so years ago.
Let's see. I think with Chukwu, I think he's kind of a Baylor lock, but he's been playing very well. Caleb Glenn, another kid that's been playing extremely well that Indiana has looked at, runs the floor every time. Seems like he's a pretty high motor kid.
Yeah, we got him in the top 75 in the 23 class. This was my first time putting eyes on him live this past week in a year or so. And he very physically impressive player, big, strong guy. He runs well. He's got a lot of pop in his game. Where he really stood out was that he was, standing at the high post, and he was able to rip through and make a play on his man. So the ball skills, the size, the athleticism, he was able to knock down shots. He had touch and all that stuff as well. Just a really impressive player, probably at about 6'7", maybe 220 or so. Big, thick-bodied guy for a 2023 prospect. He was a matchup problem in the game that I watched. They couldn't necessarily guard him because of his size, athleticism, and quickness, and ball skills as well. Very, very, very good look that he had.
Yeah, that team Thad you mentioned, they just became one of those power teams all of a sudden. We've seen that happen in the NBA, so now that has spread to the AAUs.
Yeah.
But I think Yasir Rosemont for Indiana staff was there watching Team Thad versus Expressions over there. But those they move around so easily like that amongst teams. I would think that you'd want to be on a team where you could shine more than being on a team where there's so many guys are trying to get that limelight.
Well, it all depends on who you are as a player. I mean, some guys, they do go to teams where they're not as talented, but they're able to go in and get theirs. And some guys, like a Hood-Schifino, he was previously on the CP3 team. CP3 also has a player named Jaden Bradley, who's a top 20 point guard in the country. And they were kind of similar type players. So Hood-Schifino going over to this Team Thad team, there was a hole there for him to be on the ball and play a lot of point guard with them and showcase that he can do that, because also with the Montverde team that he plays for during the high school year, he's more in an off-the-ball role. So going to this Team Thad, it showed that he's able to play on the ball, and it's been great for him. I mean, he's averaging close to 19 points per game. He's 5.8 rebounds, 4.4 assists, 1.6 steals. He's showcasing what a big 6'6" guard can do and what he's able to do. And he's really taken a big step for himself this past week. I'm excited to hope that this next week has the same showing for him, so he's able to continue to rise up possibly in the rankings.